A teary-eyed Princess Catherine and Queen Consort Camilla attended today's sombre Remembrance Sunday ceremony, the first since Queen Elizabeth II's passing. On the balcony of the Foreign Office, the two royal ladies watched as their husbands lay wreaths at the cenotaph in memory of the country's fallen soldiers. They both wore elegant coats and hats and each had poppies pinned to them, as well as diamond brooches. At one point, Catherine looked close to tears as she watched proceedings. Camilla wore the same black hat she wore to the Queen's funeral in September. In addition, the two women made a touching gesture to Queen Elizabeth II, who passed away in September, as they took a poignant empty space on the balcony, where the late monarch had stood to watch the emotional service in previous years, when her eldest son Charles, then Prince of Wales, would lay a wreath on her behalf. It comes as today's moving Remembrance Day service saw the royals out in force. In remembrance of his late mother and late grandfather George VI, Charles laid a fresh poppy wreath at the service that had a ribbon in his racing colours. Big Ben, which had been out of commission for years due to maintenance and repairs, chimed 11 times at 11 o'clock in the meantime. The service was probably an emotional time for the royal family, as Charles led the country at the cenotaph for the first time as king. Members of the royal family, including the Prince and Princess of Wales and Princess Anne, attended a touching event on Friday to remember the late Queen and her dedication to war veterans. The 4th Battalion of Highlanders, Scottish soldiers of the UK's armed services, played bagpipes and drums at roughly 10:40 a.m, pausing the march past the cenotaph. The military procession was called to order at 10:58 a.m. when King Charles III arrived. A solemn stillness descended upon the gathering as Big Ben rang 11 times to signal the beginning of the 2 minutes of silence. Military personnel performed the last post as an emotional remembrance of those lost throughout the conflicts of the 20th century, following the 2 minutes of prayers and reflection. Following that, King Charles III presented the nation with a national salute and put a wreath at the cenotaph. Then, on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen Consort, a wreath was laid. The Prince of Wales then went on to lay his wreath, which included the heir apparent's feathers. His father had already set this wreath. The wreath, which is decorated in the Prince of Wales's colours, also sports a brand new Welsh red ribbon. The Earl of Wessex and Princess Royal then laid a wreath, before one was laid on behalf of the Duke of Kent. The military parade then stood at ease as music played, and Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Sir Keir Starmer led the rest of the wreath laying. As well as the King and Queen Consort, many members of the royal family were in attendance this morning. This included the Prince and Princess of Wales, Princess Anne and Prince Edward, and the Countess of Wessex. One of the most significant events in the royal calendar, according to the late Queen, who passed away 9 weeks ago at the age of 96, is Remembrance Sunday, which honours those who have perished in battle. In 1945, when she was still a princess, she made her first wreath-laying at the cenotaph. The Queen, with the longest tenure in the country, who was in charge of the armed forces and was a teenager during the Second World War, only missed 7 cenotaph services during her reign, including one in 2021, because of a back sprain.